Premise of shadow work inner child. Word. Hey guys. Okay, so I'm live on YouTube and just wanted to come say hello. Hey boo. Zaddy. All right, let me turn this on. Ooh. Yeah, if y'all want to see what I really look like, go to YouTube. Because it is not as pretty as here, but you know what? I love who I am. And so it is what it is. And I will just tell you guys right now while we're here. Like I said, if you're on YouTube, then you'll see like I have the smooth filter on here. Well, there you go. You can kind of see it if I go like that. I have this really bad acne scarring on my face because when I was 21 years old, I moved to New Mexico from Texas and I got cystic acne really bad. And you know, in high school, the kids who like the guys who have the face that looks like it's super painful to the touch even. Um, it was like that, the hard knots underneath the skin and stuff. And yeah, it sucked really fucking bad and it ruined my skin. And now I have to deal with it, but that's okay. I still love myself. I should probably do some like magic to see if I can change the appearance of my skin. I'm surprised I haven't thought to do that before. Hi, Katie. So for those of you on YouTube, we are doing some like shadow work Q&A because on my TikToks, I'm constantly getting videos about shadow work and shadow workers and things like that. So yeah, let's answer some questions. And now, of course, I'm using both of my phones, so I can't even see the questions that were in the comments of the videos. Oh, thank you. Yeah, totally. It's all okay. Just work through it. It's gonna be okay. It's fine. It's totally fine. Hi, Kat. Change the DNA of those areas. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it would be so cool. We're gonna play Minecraft? I don't play Minecraft. um, what kind of stuff are you guys thinking? Hi, Alex. I think I'm gonna go get a candle real quick. I'm gonna put it on my little space. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It's probably going to be quite a while because I haven't been going to sleep until like 5 o'clock. Release the memory of it, the pain, social stuff. You can do anything. Oh, totally. You're talking about my skin. Yeah. So how do I do shadow work without failing or falling down a self-loathing hole? Hold on, asking for a friend. So you guys on YouTube, if you're not on TikTok, we have all the inside jokes, okay? So yes, and you guys, I only have 2 viewers, which I'm totally grateful for on YouTube. I only have 2 viewers right now, Alex and Katie. What's up? You guys are awesome. But if you want to go over here to YouTube, I can see your questions a lot easier because they don't go as fast as they do on TikTok. So if y'all want to come over there, just go like subscribe. I have a getting started with shadow work video over on YouTube, and it's barely scratching the surface. And this is, like you said, Possible Possum said, like, how do I get started in shadow work without falling down like a total self-loathing hole? That is the way that I explain shadow work in that video is an approach that will take you to a place of total acceptance, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. So it's not so much about picking apart your flaws. It's not about diving into your dark side and all of this stuff where you think that there's like you have a good side and you have a bad side. And it doesn't have anything to do with that at all. And I mean, it could. I mean, you're really starting to take away judgment from things like evil or ignorance or naivety or whatever it is that triggers you. That's kind of what we talk about in that video, is about like really starting to recognize the things that trigger you in your life, in your day-to-day life. And so this is how you have like a shadow work going constantly. And of course, you can dive deeper into shadow work, where you're actually forcing yourself into your shadows and you're revealing the things that have been suppressed in you, but you're just exposing aspects of yourself so that you can become a whole, like, working unit again. And shadow work isn't something to be feared, especially if you're a shadow worker, which, if you're attracted to me or if you're attracted into my space for whatever reason, chances are you are a shadow worker masquerading as a light worker. And as you can tell by like just, spending any amount of time with me on live videos or even seeing my videos, I'm a really down to earth person. I don't hate people. Like, it's really hard for me to be in environments where there's like lots of judgment and stuff, because it just feels like I took shrooms one time when I was 20 and lost the illusion of separation for like 3 hours. And all of a sudden, that stuck with me my whole life, because it's not so much about just like the the belief that we are one. It's the experience that we are all one, and that you're actually remembering that as you go through your life. And when you do shadow work, it helps you to be able to hold on to that long term. So you're not just having to do shadow work for the rest of your life. If you do shadow work in the right way, like the way that actually works, where you're not just like coping with aspects of yourself or whatever, like that's basically what a lot of like light workers shadow work is. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people need that. But like I said, if you're attracted to my sphere in any way, it's most likely that you're not needing that soft and gentle way. You're needing that hard, quick plunge into um reality of who you are, like as a being in general, not just a human, but you're really just killing the human part of yourself off, and you're experiencing the fullness of what it is to live a life untriggered or unbothered, right? So yeah, that was a long ass answer for that, but there you go. Hi, Wanderlust Witch. Asteri. What's up, you guys? Everybody joining, what's up? Also, let's see. I don't know if I like am not seeing comments or if there just aren't any. What happened to my filter? Oh, what happened to it? Hello, everyone. I'm very new to shadow work. So, Ryan, wait, Ryan Ide. Okay, go onto my YouTube channel. There is a link, a YouTube button in my bio. Click it, go there, look in my playlists. There is a playlist called Going Deeper. I have a video about getting started with shadow work, and I will be sure to make another one, a follow-up to that video this week. I need to like lay something on the table for you guys. Let me look at these really quick. Corjay's over here now too. Energy has shifted with the quarantine for sure. Been using EFT, so that's another really helpful tool during your shadow work journey is EFT, because and I made a video about that over there too. Like, YouTube is where I can really go into depth, and I don't like going live on TikTok that often, just because like the videos can't be saved and it's a big old hassle. Like, I have to set up both of my phones and go live both at the same time. It's just crazy. And I also have a Discord. So the Discord is bit.ly/Astrid's Discord. Super easy. Super easy to remember. I haven't been in there in a couple weeks, and I think this is what I was going to talk about. So exposing my own self. Okay, so this is what shadow work actually consists of, is when you get to a certain point, you start to expose parts of yourself that are less than ideal, right? So, as a person who has been, running a business for the past since like 2016, and then all of last year started doing like collaboration projects that was just one after another of like huge fucking lessons being learned, and just really shutting me off, letting myself be shut off from social media, but also diving into it head first, knowing that even if this thing turns into shit when I expect it to turn to gold, I'm going to come out of it so much better for the experience, so much stronger, so much smarter, wiser, better to handle certain situations that I wouldn't have been able to handle had I not gone through this period of time where it was just like lesson after lesson after lesson. Last year was just that for me. It was, I mean, my whole fucking life has been lesson after lesson, but every year it just gets better and better. And I finally had gotten to a point last year before all of that chaos started, all of the craziness started with the collaboration projects I was doing. I'd finally gotten myself to a point where I stopped letting myself be so damn triggered by every little thing. And so I got to experience a collapse of my reality from a point where I could just stand back and be the observer of it, right? So I'm like watching this shit go down, but not really having a huge emotional reaction to it. And so what ended up happening was I closed the doors to my business. I decided, I'm not taking any more clients. I'm not working with anybody else, nothing. And I just took like a month to be by myself. And I started TikTok like in November's when I started the account, or maybe it was late October, but I didn't start posting regularly until December 27th. And I became hooked, like immediately hooked on TikTok. And something in me clicked and was like, you know what? I wonder what could happen if I just decide to not go on Facebook at all for 2020. And that's what I did, which was crazy because that required me to burn my business down to the ground, stop having a source of income, stop teaching and working with people, which is something that my soul requires of me, or else I fall into a pit of darkness, right? And so over these past few months, what is it, March? So 3 months. I'm living a completely different life right now, but it's also the same life. It's just from a different perspective. So I can't really explain it other than that. And then a couple of weeks ago, whenever I first got sick, I started feeling myself distancing from TikTok, which I never thought would happen. So it was like, well, okay, so I wonder what would happen if I just allow this distance to take place. I wonder what would happen if I just keep up with my Discord server and if I just keep up with my YouTube channel, which, by the way, when I started my coaching business, that was what the main platform I wanted to use was YouTube. And I never let myself find the time to make YouTube videos. So that's another thing that this year is really about. It's about like, hey, how far can I go on YouTube? How far can I take this? How far do I want to take this? But anyways, just over the past couple of weeks, I'm not feeling like it's time for a hibernation period. And what I'm feeling is to go within, to dig deeper, but not really. I'm not digging at myself. I'm not poking at myself. It's just like, how much can I allow myself to feel? Can I allow myself to feel it completely? Because that is a huge part of the process, is not pushing down your emotions, not ignoring your intuition whenever something tells you like, you really shouldn't probably be doing this thing, but you think that you have to do it. But then you start asking yourself the questions. It's like, but what could happen if? Like, what would be available to me if I just drop the facade that, like, I have to have my shit all together, right? Like, what could happen if I don't go along with society's standards and expectations of holding a schedule, of being at certain places and certain times because that's what's expected, right? And so that's what this whole year has been about. In the past couple of weeks of not really being on TikTok, I'll make a video just to make sure that there's something new on my page, but not scrolling, not feeding into like the fear of everything that's happening right now, just really like being with myself, being with my daughter who's home from school, obviously, but just sitting in that and seeing like what magic could actually happen, what could take place in this time if I just let myself go with the flow of my own expectations, of my own rhythms. What are my own expectations, right? Like what belongs to me? And it's you start to have like this thought process to where it's just more and more clarity by the day, by the moment, by the hour, whatever it is. And you just start to think in this type of way. So, doing shadow work isn't something that you just want to do. Like, on occasion, or like when Mercury is in retrograde or any other planets in retrograde, where it's requiring you to revisit things that you haven't touched in a while, right? So it's not about just doing that. It's about how can I integrate and expose aspects of myself that are false every single moment of every single day, right? How can I stay in integrity with my highest and greatest values? So that means you need to know what your values even are. And this is a huge part of the magical mastery that we're doing in Discord, which is supposed to be 30 days, but I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to have to shut it a little bit short because I'm just not feeling the rest of the days. Like, I'm not feeling to go 10 more days. I feel like the inner work, or like the mastery portion, if you really get good at like this foundational stuff, then you have no problem going forward and mastering your reality. Like, it just, that's the only thing. It's like master this and you can master it all. Um and that doesn't mean shit won't still happen in your life, right? Like, things will still happen in your life. It just, I mean, that's gonna happen, but it's like, how do I approach it? And especially if you're asking for something, like, can I take a breath right now? Like, I feel like I've been going on a rant for a long time, but okay, at least I can breathe. Usually whenever I start on these things, I can't breathe because I'm so excited. Anyways, whenever you are asking for something, for example, okay, so you're asking for something huge. In my case, I'm not gonna put it out there what I've been asking for the past 4 years, right? But I'm gonna read your comments. Thank you guys for commenting on here. I'm definitely gonna read them in just a minute. And I don't even have this feed going. It's still up here whenever Wanderlust Witch says yes or yep. Um, okay, so when you're asking for something big, right? A total life change, a radical shift in your reality, which is why my business and my Discord and all of that is Radical Soul Alchemy, because we're not just dealing with the physical, we are dealing with the human soul. We are dealing with this aspect of yourself, or this your selfness of self that has carried all of your traumas, all of your experiences, all of your joys, all of these things with you from life after life after life into each incarnation that you experience. And so what we really need to do is to learn how to alchemize the soul aspects and not just what's happening in the here and now. So when we're asking for something and we're evolving in a way in this lifetime, it's going to require us to rack up the skill sets that we need in order to advance to the frequency that is required for us to be able to have the things that we're asking for. Coronavirus. So even when shit starts to hit the fan, which is what I was just talking about. So like, yeah, shit's gonna still happen. Things are still gonna go off. Like, it's not all perfect all the time, but how you respond to it gets better and better and better. Like, life doesn't get better. You just get better at life. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Smoker's cough. I got my vape right here, but I'm so terrified that TikTok will shut me down for smoking a vape or whatever. Like, so dumb. But anyways, there's a moth in my wine. I'm still gonna drink it. Just let it be an offering. I guess the spirits think that I like bugs. Oh, sorry, TikTok. Anyways, yeah, shit's still gonna happen. It's just like how much of an observer of your reality can you be? You know what I mean? Let me see. I'm gonna go. Hey, thanks for following me, Fearless Foxy and Purple Moon Abyss. I like that name, by the way. Shit, I wish that I had scrolled down a little bit. You guys are fucking chatting, chat. Okay. No, I cannot tell you about the Fae. I'm an elemental, but I do not work with Fae. They're constantly around me. I don't follow like the Fae laws and shit, like the rules, the gift stuff. Like I'm not about that life. Let me just roll up. You're welcome. Thank you. Love your videos. So retrograde, making people crazy. So we're in retro shade. It'll actually be over tomorrow. So everybody's thinking retrograde's over, but it's not. Yeah, I'm live on TikTok at the same time. Let's see. I'm coming over to YouTube to answer these questions real quick, and then I'll look at the rest of the questions and stuff on TikTok. So if you want to come to YouTube, come subscribe to me there. I go live there way more often than here. And as you can see, I go way into depth on the topics and the questions and the answers. And I'm not usually like looking at two different things. So, okay, no problem. Also do tarot every day, even just a card, write it down. You can track where you've been. Always nice. Totally. And that's one of the things that we just started talking about in the Discord was over the past few weeks is like how important it is to have a journal, how important it is to have a magical journal. So you can track your progress, but it's not only tracking your progress, it's like you're putting out all of the thoughts and stuff that you're having in your head. Like you actually have a place to put them out whenever you're actually doing regular journaling too. It's like you're getting some space from all of the thoughts that are just spinning around in your head all the time. And so a big portion of the beginning of this was like some pretty simple journaling work. So again, bit.ly/Astrid's Discord if you want to come and hang out with us there. Yeah, but it is really cool to see, like, to look back in your journal, in your magical diary, or in your divination diary or journal, whatever you call it, and see how, hey, did my predictions like add up? Like, was I on point? Or maybe was this feeling something else? There's so many ways you can analyze it. I'm really grateful to have such an analytical mind, but before, whenever it was still in shadow all the time, it was a saboteur. It's a personal saboteur. But once you learn how to work with like the energies of that, you can shift it into being the magician archetype, and it's fucking magical, dude. Like, honestly. Okay, let me see. I want to carve something into my candle, and because I'm clearly in a different state of consciousness right now, just from like ranting and going off and all of that. Like, I love being in this energy so much. Let me see. Hold on. That is so valid. Haven't been able to do any of it yet. And desiring it. Yep. I saw something about addiction. Hold on. Let me see. Reborn. Ooh, yeah. Where's the one about addiction? I can't find it. Damn it. Just, can you type it again, Alex? Oh, they're having their own little conversation over here. That's what's happening. Okay. Oh, someone mentioned the Fae. Take a shot. Yep. Nope. I'm good. And Miss Cat Attack says I'm fade up with the Fae. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. She said mood. So what should I carve into this candle? Her. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Simply Fiendish said, I think even the Fae are sick of people talking about the Fae. Mm-hmm. They are. Who believes in mermaids? I love to believe in things that society tells us aren't real. I am convinced, I've seen fairies, I've seen aliens, I've seen dragons, I've seen all kinds of mythical creatures. I've, been through portals as a child, like 100%, like the wall in the laundry room turned into like this plasma mirror, and I wouldn't have described it then. I would have just called it a mirror, because I didn't have the words for it. But even now, I don't talk about this shit like ever. But um yeah, it turned into like this plasma mirror, and I went through it, and it was a completely different reality. And I wish I could even describe it. It was just the same as this one, but it was way more colorful. It was more, let's say, kid friendly. So instead of pointed, jagged edges, it would all be like sort of circular and bubble, like these. These are supposed to be bushes on my arm, right? So it would be more like candy looking type of things. And I was being led by a white rabbit at the time. I had no idea what that meant, but I was in a completely different reality. And then I also have a memory of doing the same thing, but like going through through our dryer, right? So like the dryer was a portal as well. And these are things that just happened to me as a kid. Like I remember waking up from a dream one time and bringing something back with me from the dream. And like, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember my mom telling me, like, "Where did you get that?" And I was like, "Fuck." Like, I knew it was from my dream, but some part of me knew that it would sound totally crazy to her. But I still told her I brought it back with me, and she thought I stole it. And I really wish I remember what it was. I think it was like a hat or something. I don't know. But like at the time, I didn't think any of these things were significant because as a kid, you just think that this kind of stuff is normal. Like you think, oh, probably everybody does that. Like this is just what reality is. But you're really just so close to the in between place where you can actually dimension hop, and all of these things that we think are fictional could very well have been written as a part of the times as our like realities overlaid with other realities. And it's just crazy to think about. I can't even like wrap my mind around it right now, because it's just such a huge topic. And I know TikTok likes to go off on things like take something small and just like run with it. Like, how fucking far can we take it? But you guys go off, do your thing. I'm not here to judge you for that. I don't like fear propaganda, but other than that, like, we good. Anyways, I don't know why I just felt the need to tell you guys all of that, but whatever. Yeah, I feel like totally crazy talking about it, but I was a kid, and like my dad was like super, super into I don't know, strange stuff. But I think that he's the reason why I stayed open-minded for so long in my childhood. So yeah, props to you, Dad, who is now a Pentecostal preacher. Yay. Just totally become your full self. Totally doing the same thing. Um, Holly Via Jones, are you still here? She says, what advice do you have for those struggling with isolation? um, Man, I'm so behind on these TikTok questions because they go so fast. Yeah, my dad is amazing. Totally. So yeah, if you guys are still on here and you have a question you really want me to answer, chances are very slim that I'm gonna see it here. So go onto my YouTube channel. I'm live there too, and we'll talk more. So, um, so she says, what advice do you have for those struggling with isolation? Honestly, like I used to hate being alone. I used to get like so bored by it. I would um feel the same type of like struggle that you're feeling. Hold on. I need to vape and I don't want to get kicked off restricted from TikTok. Okay. So, I think isolation is I mean, the struggling with isolation is something that everybody who has a deep calling to know thyself is gonna have. A lot of people are struggling with boredom right now. I fortunately have my daughter home and I will never be bored while she's home. And I haven't been bored in years. And so, my best advice for struggling with isolation is, and I actually made a TikTok about this. It's in my drafts right now because I make shit all the time and I just don't post it. Um, is remember what you were into when you were a kid, what like excited you, what got you excited, what did you think, I'll probably spend the rest of my life doing this, even if it was, maybe it was singing and you're just like a terrible singer right now. Like YouTube is the fucking bomb for any tutorial type stuff. Like you could go on YouTube and you could learn how to sing. I'm sure there are singing videos where people will even like do sessions with you and help you to find the right pitch and stuff to tell you like how you're doing. There's workout stuff on YouTube. Like get into shape, go get yourself a kettlebell. Kettlebell is amazing because it's strength, flexibility, and cardio all in one. And it's amazing because it helps with your posture, it helps with your health in general. Learn how to cook. I know food might be scarce in a lot of places, but start making good food, food that you really love and want to eat. Spend time every single day in meditation. Meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit there and clear your mind of all the thoughts, but rather becoming the observer of those thoughts. And if you have no idea where to start with becoming the observer of your thoughts, the very best recommendation that I have as far as starting to become that is the book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I don't really like follow his teachings, but I will 100% endorse that book. And his teachings aren't bad either. They're just I he's just hard to listen to because he speaks so slow and I just can't get there energetically. But that book changed my life. Like I read it in 2009 when I was in rehab and it fucking changed my entire life. So the shrooms experience was right before that though. But yeah, like reconnect to what it is that excites you, like you have nothing to worry about. Let people witness you. Oh, and back to like what I was talking about with the shadow stuff, exposing aspects of self. So shame, exposing aspects of yourself that you feel ashamed of. So a little bit going back to what I was talking about before on how, it took me a long time to be able to trust my process and to know that just because I don't feel like getting on social media right now doesn't mean that I'm going to feel that way forever. And so when I'm going through something like that, I just speak it. So like maybe you start journaling and like going live about your process and what you're experiencing in your life, right? Where you're documenting your journey. Let it be fun, even if it feels like your life is totally collapsing. Like, get in your journal. And if you don't know how to journal, I would love to talk about this more because I'm a total fucking journal fiend. And yeah, I would love to talk about it more. But like, document your experience, expose aspects of your shadow or your shame or aspects of yourself that you feel like guilty about. for a long time, I didn't know that like being cold and distant was okay. I thought that I was weird or fucked up because I didn't know how to express affection towards other people, and I don't know how to not just tell the truth about something without coming off as an asshole. But the more I started doing truth telling and speaking the truth and teaching in an authentic way, and just being in an authentic way and sharing my journey and documenting the process of the things that I learned, and along the way teaching the same things that I'm learning about myself, and then how it can also help and benefit other people, is that like you just become like this whole part. I mean, like it's you become the whole, and you get like so much better at life. Man, there was another point I wanted to make about that, but yeah, you just document your journey. You will start to see, you'll start to see like your inner game being so fucking on point. Oh, I remember. I was talking about like being cold and distant and all of that. Oh yeah. Okay, so as I started to speak the truth and, teach in certain authentic ways for myself while being very harsh or blunt or whatever, a lot of the testimonials I would get back from clients or followers would just be things like, she really knows how to kick your ass, but she does it in a way that you feel totally held, or that makes you feel like such a deep sense of love while also having the truth like exposed to you. And so if I hadn't have documented my journey, and I hadn't decided to start taking clients on this whole beautiful fucking shadow work journey and helping them build businesses out of things that they're passionate about, and just so many different types of transformational coaching that I started to do, I would have never learned that about myself, that I'm here to speak truth, but I also am just lovable. And I can be cold and distant to people can perceive that in me if they want to, but that is not the truth, right? Regardless if I've been told that or not, it's just not the truth. I just didn't know how to use it as a superpower, right? Which is kind of what we're all trying to learn, is how to use our superpowers. So, anyways, hey, you guys. Ben Bean. I'm an empath. KZ Psy. Not an alchemist, though. I'm pretty fucking sure you are, bro. Kind of new to this information. I'd like to know, what does it mean for an empath to be an alchemist? Let me see. We can all be alchemists, but empaths are able to take on others' energy and transmute it. Yeah, totally, Kelly. Thank you for that answer. I'm gonna put this candle down before I carve into it too much right now. So that's a really good question. Hold on. Yeah, guided meditation is great, but like just don't get dependent on it, because you don't want to focus on taking your mind to another scape. Like you don't want a mindscape, and that's a path working. Path working is essentially guided meditation, right? So you don't want to just path work. You want to become the observer. So there's that. Let me see. Breath work is really good for that too. Hey, you guys on YouTube, if you don't mind, will you go hit the thumbs up button for me, please? If you like this, or if you're getting anything out of it. During retrograde, I noticed I've been feeling more calm. I've only felt physical stress, but I haven't been grumpy or angry. Wondering, oh, I've been more structural. Why is that? That's really cool. You could possibly have Mercury retrograde like when you were born, like on your birthday. Mercury could have been retrograde, but a lot of people just handle it differently. Like I don't really get affected by it that much, and that comes with the ebbs and flows of life, and giving yourself permission to take a step back if you need to, and reassess your situation without judging it, and all of those things. But yeah, that's fine. That's great. So let's get to this. What does it mean for an empath to be an alchemist? And then Kelly says we can all be alchemists, but empaths are able to take on others' energy and transmute it. So, yeah, just like what Kelly said, empaths are able to transmute others' energy, but a lot of empaths, especially if you, uh, who was it? I don't remember who I was talking to. They were like, Facebook really did a number on like the empaths community and how people perceive empaths as sort of like weaklings, you know what I mean? Like that you're the victim to your circumstances and that everybody's energy or you can feel people's emotions and you can feel people's everything, their physical pain, their mental pain, their emotional pain, but let's not forget that we can also feel their the great things that they're feeling. It's just that most of the time, when we're not living in a certain state of awareness, we are attracting things that are gonna feel like shit. Like if you're living in a vibration of guilt or shame, maybe you've always felt different your whole life. You felt like nobody would ever understand you, that nobody gets you, but you're that way. You think of it as like, I'm just different or I'm just this way or that way or whatever. So you start to sort of isolate yourself from the rest of the world, and think that everybody else is just like toxic and whatever the case may be, or that you're the one who's fucked up and that you wish you could be normal, right? So that would be shame if you feel like, um, I'm fucked up and I should be more like them. So that's carrying like a vibration of shame, and you're going to attract people into your space that are holding that same vibration of shame or fear or guilt or whatever the toxic emotion is. And so that's why you start feeling the energies and sort of unintentionally feeding on those energies, which just perpetuates your own guilt and shame and blame and fear and doubt and all of these really fucked up feelings that we feel off of other people. And what happens when an empath becomes an alchemist is that the empath takes responsibility for the way that they feel. They not only take responsibility, but they actively seek to transmute those things, those toxic or negative emotions. We actively seek to transmute those and asking constantly, like, okay, what is my next step? Like, what is the next aligned step to, live in my greatest and highest expression, my most creative expression of self. And so to be able to do that, you really have to know what your energy is versus what you're feeling off of somebody else. Just like Kelly says, that empaths will take those emotions and transmute them, but a lot of empaths are not doing the transmutation part of the process. They're just taking it. I remember being very small and thinking, it is my purpose to just take all of everybody else's shit because they're not strong enough to handle it. Tell me, is that not victim mentality if you've ever heard it? Like, where the fuck would I even get that type of thought process, right? But that's what I thought because I was in victim mentality, because that's what everybody around me was. So, does your own guilt and shame come first, or does like the family, the ancestral, guilt, shame, and all of that fear? Are you born with it? Yes. And it's also yours to deal with. And so you get things like the black sheep of the family. And yes, I'm using a lot of quotes. I always do that because these are words and terms and phrases that people understand on a certain level. But then when we talk about them in a different way, you're going to start seeing a different meaning to that word, right? It's just a way for us to be on the same wavelength right now. So you always see like these black sheeps of the family. And Every generation has one, and I believe that it's up to us to be able to take on the entire the entirety of our ancestral heritage or our ancestral trauma, any curses that have been placed on the family line. And yes, the fuck you are strong enough to do it. Okay, so the black sheep comes along, and every one of us have the opportunity to heal our family's line. So when we heal ourselves, we're also healing the entirety of our family reality. So we're healing past, present, and future. And so as we're doing this, as we're working on ourselves, then when we discover it might be time to step into like magical systems and workings. This is why you don't hear me talk about deity work, because I think that it's more important for you to work with your ancestors. And so your ancestors are different than your deceased loved ones. And there's a really good podcast that I listen to. Rune Soup is the podcast, but there's this one, if you type like Rune Soup ancestors, there's this one guy on here and he says this essentially, and I this is the only part of the podcast that stuck, but is that our ancestors are different than our dead relatives. Okay, so maybe your grandparents and your great grandparents, and this happens a lot in Western worlds, to where, you know, since Christianity has become like the norm and people are buried with like Christian vows and things like that, not vows, but like rites that are read, we're not, and in the way that we bury our relatives is not the proper preparation for the soul to move on. And so then you get a lot of them that are stuck in like this limbo area, that they're not moved on, but they're not here anymore. And so that can cause a lot of things, problems with like your dead relatives attaching on to other people in your family, right? Maybe even you, or they're coming to you and they're telling you that they need help. And so like what you have to do whenever you're starting your magical journey, it's really wise to start with ancestor work, because you're calling your ancestors forwards, the ones that were buried or cremated or however with the proper rites, to allow their soul to cross over into the next plane of existence. You call those ancestors forward. You share life with them, you honor them, you venerate them, and you ask them to hold your dead relatives accountable, right? Because it's their job to make sure that they go forward, okay? It's their job, it's all of our individual job to make sure that we make it through to the next life or reality or whatever. And what they do, what the ancestors do with the dead relatives, I don't know. But I do know that it has helped me a lot. Like depression gone, anxiety gone, any types of feeling of oppression on me gone. And I can guarantee you that that is because I am the black sheep or sensitive of the family. And so the dead relatives that pass on stick to me and they experience through me. And, you know, I spent a long time dealing with addiction, and you know, is there somebody in my family who attached to me to experience that too? Doesn't matter. I have to take responsibility for my part, and then I have my ancestors hold my dead relatives accountable for their own ascension as well. And so that's why it's really important to start with ancestor work and then working with your spirit guides, and fuck deity work for however long that needs to matter. Like, get your shit together, get your shit right. Like, you know, start recognizing what's my shit to handle and what is other people's. And as an empath, whenever you're turning into an alchemist, it is clear what's yours, because you start taking the steps forward. You develop a non-negotiable meditation practice to where you are devoting, you know, dozens of minutes a day. You know, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. But like, you have to make that the most important aspect of your practice, because if you cannot dedicate 30 minutes a day to your meditation practice, then like, what the fuck? Like, how long do you spend on social media? And I'm not trying to shame anybody, but like, obviously you value social media or, you know, watching other people's content more than you value your spiritual ascension. And I'm not talking about ascension as in like it's some far off place that you're trying to get to in the afterlife, but it's like, no, like it's about becoming whole. It's about, you know, it's about being the alchemist and being able to move reality to your will, in accordance with your will. And it's all interconnected. So yeah, that's a fucking lot here, but okay. Yeah, healing timelines. Absolutely. That's exactly it. You remembered something. Let's see. A lot of that will happen. You'll just remember stuff out of the blue. Let me see here. I'm going to go back up and read you guys your comments. I'm a pastor kid too. I think I already told you that. I think I said that on this video that my dad's a Pentecostal preacher now, which is super weird, but I can feel what other people's are feeling or tell what's going to happen just from the energy that people give off. Yep, absolutely. 100%. And then that's where you set the boundaries. It's like you start to feel this energy that somebody else is giving off, and you know you felt that energy before and you had to learn a hard lesson from it. So how are you going to engage with that energy this time, right? Like, how am I going to engage with this energy that I know has this certain energy signature, that has like the same patterns of toxicity? Am I going to, you know, just be nice and fit in and just go with the flow of what like is happening over here because I want to be accepted and loved and blah blah bloody fucking blah? Like, or do I want to take responsibility for the way that I feel and the way that my life looks and the way that it is, and decide to set a hard boundary, or like any, maybe a soft boundary if that's your thing, whatever needs to happen. But like, okay, I recognize this energy. How am I going to interact with this? So you're just starting to get used to having this dialogue going on within your body, within your being. And I've talked about this several times. You start to get to the point where like you don't even have to have the dialogue, the question and the answer appear at the same time. And so you're able to sort of sail through your life and through your experience, because you have given yourself and your needs and your standards first priority in your life. So yeah, man, I really want to, I wonder if I can like screen record these, comments here. Hold on, let me see. Whoops. Okay. No, microphone off. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I just want to like screen record all of these comments from TikTok, because like I feel like there's a lot of questions here and maybe we can do them. But like I said, if you guys are asking me questions, I'm probably not going to see them on here on TikTok. So just go, oops. So just go onto YouTube, subscribe there, and yeah, I will see them better here because there's like 13 people on over here and they're not going as fast. The comments are not going as fast. You feel personally attacked. Good. Good. Okay. Kazisai says, Kazisai says, could this be why I have a very high fear of death? I will tell you, if you have a fear of death, you're gonna hate. You're gonna hate doing shadow work. Um, but it's essential because what happens whenever you realize you're not going to die, which is something that your nervous system does whenever you are experiencing something like rejection. Something like rejection, your body and everything in you is going to tell you that you're gonna die. And that's like ego shit, right? And that's why we have to experience things like ego death and the dark night of the soul and all of these things where like parts of you just die. But whenever you realize, oh yeah, I can stand up for myself, or a lot of witches like are afraid to come out of the closet, so to speak, because they don't want like um to be rejected from their tribe of origin. And I've talked about this a lot in the shadow work video, getting started with shadow work. Welcome, yes. Hey Ashley. And I think Call Me Curious just came over too. No, maybe not. But what's up, you guys? Yeah, once you overcome that fear of death, and the only way, here's the kicker, okay? The only way to really overcome that fear is by doing the thing anyways, is by doing the thing that that you think is gonna kill you, and then like realizing you're not gonna die, and then just keeping on doing that over and over again. I know it's the only way to do it, but yeah, kind of sucks, but it's kind of all right too. You have the sacred voice. Quite moving. Thank you. Whenever I was a teenager, somebody told me that my voice is quite melodic. I was like, what does that mean? They're like, I don't know, it just sounds like a song or something. That just happens whenever I get into flow, when I like step into flow and I'm just like, it just all comes out. So thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe make a video about ancestors instead of deities. Yeah, totally. That's definitely an option. For sure. Are you a witch? Because the pic behind you. Yes, I am a left-hand path occultist, is what I call myself. I don't really vibe with the term witch too much, but I guess that's also what I am. These are sigils here. So if you want to give them some of your energy and feed them, they would be super happy, appreciative. And so would I. I'm doing awesome. Thank you for joining from Italy. Let's see. Lately, I've been doubting all this stuff. Do you see the desire to do shadow work as the beginning of a spiritual awakening? Absolutely not. I think the spiritual awakening comes way before shadow work is even revealed. But I think a lot of people do shadow work a long time before they even realize that they're doing it. But the deeper shadow work comes much after you're aware. And I don't like I said, we're doing that foundational thing, March magical mastery on Discord and stuff. And see, what happened was we got into like the 11, 12, 13 and plus forward days on there, and I started feeling like this doesn't like feel, it doesn't feel good. Like it just feels blah. It feels like you could go look this shit up online easily. And like the basics of, and what happened was I realized through doing that Discord that I don't give a fuck about the basics of magic. I don't give a fuck about teaching people how to protect themselves or how to do banishing or how to do this or that or the other. All I care about is helping you to be able to dive deeply within yourself in the fastest amount of time, be able to transform as fast as possible. Like that's all I care about. And so it's about taking the chance, right? Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take the chance and risk putting myself in a place, in a position where I have to step outside of integrity for maybe a couple days until I realize that that's what I'm doing. And honestly, that's probably what happened with my couple of weeks of feeling like I don't really want to be on social media, is because what I was teaching, or what I was forcing myself to teach, was to be in integrity with the promise that I made at the beginning of like that foundational series, right? And it's like I'm willing to risk that so I can know, so I can have that experience of if this is something I want to do or not. And so the first 10 days went by like beautifully amazing, like my gifts shining through, and every other day just felt like, I'm loving seeing y'all's experiences. I'm loving getting to be a part of it and being a catalyst for your transformation. But that's the part I like. If you want my perspective on protection work or banishing work, like, yeah, I can give it to you in a video like this or whatever, but like, I'm not going to dedicate a whole day to it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. So, anyways, like, I had to learn that about myself, is that like that shit bores me. Like, it's super fucking boring to me. And like, whenever somebody's first having an awakening, if you're coming to me and you're just now having a spiritual awakening, it's because you're meant to bypass the bullshit and get right into the heart of the matter. And I think a lot of people are waking up in this way right now, to where you are getting to bypass a lot of the bullshit. Um, because that like fluffy stuff that has been what spiritual work is for the past God knows how many years, like that shit's unnecessary at this point. And a lot of shadow workers are waking up and realizing that, yeah, my destructive tendencies, my disruptive tendencies, my triggering tendencies, like my black sheepness, like it has all had it's all been coming to this one moment in time where I can really actually shine, and shine brighter than the light. And it's not a competition, like they need both, but like what we're creating together right now, where we get to bypass all of that bullshit, is um is the true light showing through. It's really coming through right now. So, yeah, you can, whether you're in the middle of a spiritual awakening or you think you're a light worker, but you also have like some of the traits of shadow worker, like in my video, like light workers have almost all of shadow workers have almost all of the same traits as light workers. And how I'm seeing the shadow worker is that when a shadow worker intentionally or becomes aware of the impact that they can have, and the gifts that they actually have, and that they can make a difference in the world, we typically will go towards the light worker spectrum because it's what's known. There's basically a blueprint for it, and we learn how to become aware of ourselves and raise our consciousness and raise our frequency and things of that nature. But the shadow worker seems to be the evolution of the light worker. And what's beyond that, I'm unsure, but I know that all of the people who I know who are shadow workers have gone through periods of time where they thought they were light workers. And there's very few that I've met or had the opportunity to coach who came from brand new spiritual awakening straight into owning their power as a shadow worker. But I think a lot of that is starting to happen now. Hi, little Miss Morose. What's up? It's scary. It's but scary light working. Oh, it's not scary light working. Yeah, well, it is possible to do both because it is both. But the light working is shadow working is we'll have to talk about this a little bit. We'll have to break it down a little bit more. Hold on. There's a lot of comments coming in on YouTube now because I told everybody to come to YouTube. But it's easier to be able to control and to see the comments here. Lately I've been doubting all this stuff, feeling like I'm just crazy. Do you have any advice? Yeah, totally. So the question is, lately I've been doubting all of this stuff. I feel like I'm just crazy. Do you have any advice? A lot of us feel like we're just crazy at the beginning, especially whenever you're first starting your journey, especially whenever you start having experiences. Um, there's not really a way to validate that. And it can be a little bit off putting whenever you are experiencing things that you can't really talk about in your day to day life with people that you would regularly hang out with and talk about things with. So, really, if you're feeling crazy, it's 100%, 100% start meditating every single day. Learn how to shield your energy. Because if you've seen the video chat that Enoch and I did on my YouTube channel, we talked about like astral parasites and how there is stuff, especially whenever you flick your light switch on, there's stuff that wants to come and like feed on your energy and stuff. And it really loves to feed on fear. That's one thing too. But I love Enoch's book, The Book of Soul Retrieval from the Left Hand Path Perspective, because it really shows a clear outline about like what these things, these parasites will feel like. And it gives you someone that you know understands exactly what you're going through. And he talked about the reason why it feels like so connected when you're reading that book and doing the work in that book is because he was actually path working that at the same time. So these realizations were coming up to him at the same time. And so it really is about like a process of self discovery. And so that's one way to sort of validate the experiences that you're having. So if you're feeling like you're just crazy, like just keep exploring the things that you feel are making you crazy, right? Or you feel are kind of crazy. So if you keep looking, you're eventually going to find. And reality is so, how do you say this? Subjective, I guess would be the word. Reality is so subjective that you and your partner, or me and you, or you and your mom, or you and your sister, or whatever, can be in the same room looking at the same thing and all be having different, very different experiences based on the memories that you have in your soul, in your like actual body, in your nervous system, all of these things. You're going to be having different experiences. And so it can be a little bit tough whenever you don't have anyone to like check reality up against with, to compare notes or whatever. So just make sure that you stay tuned in and tapped in to community where you can actually have conversations with people who aren't going to judge you. And I think that's the most important thing, is making sure that you surround yourself with people who aren't going to judge you for your experiences. Now, I might look at somebody and be like, I cannot deal with you. Like, you're fucking crazy or whatever, like, but I would never say like you're fucking crazy, right? Like, it might be perceived to be that experience because I'll be like, you are just off the deep end or whatever right now. And like, that does not mean I will not throw out my line and reel you in, because there's nobody who's too far off the deep end. Like, you have to do your thing. You have to explore in the way that you have to explore. And that is not for anybody to judge. So even if you were going totally batshit crazy for a little bit, like, that's fine. Let it be, let it happen. And then make sure you surround yourself with a community of people who are going to hold you through you having these experiences, of you really just sorting out what is real and what is my imagination, and how much of this is trauma that needs to be healed, and how much of this is, my expectation of what magic should be. How much of this is just pure delusion. But aside from just being in a community where you're not going to be judged, where you're going to be held, but also where people are going to challenge you. and challenge your beliefs and challenge you on the things that you're very unclear about, because those things have a certain energy signature too. And whenever you're around the right people, they will be able to pick up on those things and be able to challenge um, in whatever way needs to be challenged. Now, there's some people who come into my space who need to be challenged, but it ain't by me and it ain't right now. And so I will just stop talking to them, period. Like, that's just how it is. It's not for me to judge that situation, but I damn sure will not be anybody's savior. Okay. And I will not participate in the action of salvation, especially if somebody expects me to be that. As you can see, probably by now, I am not a reliable source of salvation. I don't have any holes in my hands, y'all. Like, did I fucking die for you? No. But what I did do is I came here to spread some truth and to reveal certain aspects of the soul, or of the infinite being, not just the human soul, because the human soul is limited by this human body. This human body couldn't exist if the soul were not created for it. And the soul and the spirit, or the infinite being of like who you actually are, is not the same as the soul. And that's a whole other conversation. But anyways, long answer to that question too. I just cannot handle not letting it all come out. Yeah, Paul says when you think you're crazy, you're on the right path. Yes. Oh, did you do it? Oh, obviously you probably did. So it was just about like meeting your personal spirit guide. Did you astral project for it, like through it? Hey, cats. Oh, Catsy Sai. Catsy Sai. Kazi Sai. Catsy Sai. Okay. How do you deal with evil spirits? How do you deal with them? Well, first of all, I don't believe in evil. Thank you, Solus. I don't believe in evil. I believe everything has a purpose. And if we really wanted to get into like the really fucked up part about what is evil and what isn't evil, a lot of people are victimized on this planet. Okay, lots of humans are victimized. I am not saying right now that people aren't victimized, that people do not have experiences where they are made to be the victim. There are victims of rape and murder and really disgusting things that I won't talk about because I don't want to like trigger people too much right now. But so I'm not saying that that's not wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that that's okay to do or that it's acceptable to do those evil acts. Because if I was in the same room with a child predator, I would cut their heart out, or I'd cut their balls off and make them eat it. Like, it's part of the condition of being a human, is that we all kind of agree that these things are not okay. It is not okay to do that. And that being said, I also don't believe in evil. So it's sort of paradoxical. That's another huge trait of being a shadow worker, is that you are a walking paradox. You contradict yourself a lot, but all of reality is a paradox. And let me see. Starting to get wine lips here. I only drank one little glass of wine. But the parasites and stuff, I think, is what you're talking about, the evil spirits. She said, how do you get rid of evil spirits? So the spirits and like the parasites and the entities and things that just want to feed on your energy, it's really important to learn how to either banish and protect your space so that they don't have access to feed off of you. Or you can also do things like create servitors that protect you. Um, Shielding is really important. Learning how to use chi or like life force energy, learning how to use that. You can call on archangels or certain demons, daemons, not. A lot of people think demons are astral parasites, and there's a big difference. Okay, so like demons, actual helpful, useful demons, you have to summon them. You have to call them into your space, intentionally call them in. Parasites will just show up whenever the fuck. Okay, so like demons like Belial, Azazel, and just like any demons you want to work with, King Paimon, like anyone that you want to work with. Like you mostly have to call them in unless they're kind of like a guardian angel for you and have always been with you. Like Belial was for me and or is for me. But anyways, aside from that, so you can use like archangels or demons or guides or ancestors are a really great one too. As a means for protection, but you really just need to learn to work with that protective energy. So, self empowerment is a really important part of this process, and learning how to rise yourself up from your human experience to where your consciousness is actually rejoined with the whole again, where you are in this space of oneness. So that you can call the powers and forces forward to banish your space, right? You can banish it with your own energy, but that requires you to have zero, absolutely zero fear. And I don't give a fuck who you are. If you grew up with an indoctrination cycle going, and like this matrix that we all kind of grow up in, especially Christians or Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons or any type of those fire and brimstone type of religions, Catholics, if you grew up with that paradigm, whenever you step in a circle, when you cast a circle with demons or goddesses, even for the first time, you're gonna feel fear. Like you're going to feel fear because, again, something in your nervous system is telling you, I'm gonna die, right? Like, this is not safe. It does not fit with my paradigm. It doesn't fit with my programming. And so it's gonna scare you. Like the first time I took an offering to the crossroads, I was fucking terrified. Like terrified. Yes, it is not yeah, fear is normal, but you just have to face it. Like you have to show up and meet your fear, and you have to realize that like I can do this thing scared and I'm not going to die. And your intention is to approach it with love. And whenever you approach something with love, it is a completely different vibration than fear. So, like, fear and love can't exist in the same place at the same time. So, whether you're afraid in that moment in your gut, like your body is telling you, yeah, like this is fucking scary or whatever, but like your heart is saying, like holding the intention of love, it's going to continue to protect you anyways. So, that's just kind of the way that I see it. Like whenever I was afraid of the dark, I was afraid of the dark for a long time. And like lights off kind of dark, like run from the light switch to the bed and jump onto the bed. I was afraid of that for a long time. And then there was a spot in my old house where it was just really dense energy. And like I would walk there every night to go from the bathroom to the bedroom. And just in this one spot, it was just heavy. and I would carry that fear with me. And it just kind of hit me, what would happen if I decided to like love this, this feeling that I'm having, and that love like um just came out like, I love you, I love you, I love you, so that I could focus on love, even though it didn't feel super authentic in the moment. Being able to take my focus off of the fear of that darkness and move into a space of love. It, even if it was inauthentic for like 0.3 seconds, it helped me to see, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna die. And inevitably, like, that's what it all boils down to, is like showing our body that we're not going to die. And then so like the next time you do it, you're going to be fine. And so it's not really so much about evil. It's more about like, again, what am I going to choose? Because you're always choosing, regardless of what your paradigm tells you, regardless of what your programming tells you. You're always choosing something, and it's about locking in this new state of being, or this new option that you have. Like, okay, even if this experience is totally shitty right now, I can choose to love it. And you can overcome like all of the things that you're afraid of, all of the things that you're ashamed of, or feeling guilt over, or blame. You want to blame somebody over. It's just like shifting out of one state of being into another one. Into experiencing both of these extremes, you will start to realize how to navigate the in between. So you're not just feeling total fear, and you're not just feeling total love. You're able to navigate the space in between, which is really what we want to get to in there. So where can I learn more about shadow workers? I resonated deeply with your video about them. This is kind of like, we're just talking about some of these things right now. I talked about it in the beginning. So glad that fear is normal. Yes, brought to light some things I needed to sort out in the physical reality relationships that were eating at me, eating at me. This to me feels like the heart or inner workings of protection and what should be achieved. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've talked about like devouring the energy before. Like, if something's coming at you, being able to store and use that energy. Like, I have lots of transmutation, I guess you could call them like spiritual devices, that I have set up through time because of the beings that I work with now. And many of you guys know that, like, I don't worship deities or demons. I don't worship anything. But the demons that I do work with are constantly giving me signals and experiments, I guess would be a good way to put it. Experiments, and also just sort of like downloads about the type of magic that works for me, or that will work for me and will work for my energy. I shared like that chaos spin on black salt here on YouTube. I shared that video. That was one of those things there. It's like, how can I take a certain type of energy and transmute it and be able to store it for use in another time, as a type of energy that would be useful to the work that I'm doing. Okay. So yeah, you'll start to like see different types of ideas dropping in. And if you kind of approach it as an experiment, it's less likely that you're gonna feel that fear of, I'm gonna fuck this up. So, and that's another huge thing about what I said. Like, whenever you're like casting a circle, or whenever you're like banishing or calling in the corners or whatever, like if you have indoctrination, or if you've been indoctrinated, which everybody has, you're gonna feel this fear of either, I'm scared of what's gonna happen, or I'm scared I'm gonna fuck this up. Okay. And that's like those are the two main things that you struggle with is like, am I going to do this wrong and have to pay? And there's going to be like repercussions, whether it's from the spirits that you're working with and calling in, or will there be repercussions from the system I was indoctrinated in? And it's this whole big mess. And you just have to deal with it as it comes, and you just treat everything as an experiment, because we're not really conditioned to treat life as an experiment. And so whenever you start approaching it from that way, you will start to have more fun with it. And like that really matters a lot, is if you're having fun with it. This feels like, oh yeah, I read that one. Yeah, I'm gonna get off of here too. I've been on for like 84 minutes, and I've been on TikTok live longer than that. Okay. Well, life is an experiment to me, user CR or CPRM7. And what the fuck is your name? Hi, Zoe or Zoe Mai 1 2 3. How do you identify a demon that has visited you? Just a second. Your best friend works with demons. That's awesome. Thank you, Emma. Nice. You know what? I'm just gonna... Yeah. I feel like this person is just a troll. I'm just gonna block you, because I don't want your energy on my feed. Thank you. Bye. What about acceptance with no fear, blame? Things we have seen without blaming anybody. That takes a lot of work for sure. But I just blocked you, so you can't even hear that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Danielle Starlene says, I'll have to remember that next time something enters my home. Yep, you gotta like call. You gotta call on your own power. Yeah, those hallways are fucking crazy, man. When did that change? Probably like 8 years ago? 7 years ago? Oh my god, do you even know what you're talking about? Nope, I have no fucking clue. No clue. I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see what other messages are here. No, I don't watch other witchy YouTubers. I don't like watching witch content, honestly. Yes, it is possible to be a light worker and a shadow worker. Okay, how do you identify a demon that has visited you? So you'll start getting like you'll start getting like names. If you start like doing or attributes, I wouldn't, if you don't know anything about demons, I wouldn't try and identify it unless you are doing some type of divination where you can get a clear answer, okay? Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're the sweetest. Let me go back to your question so I don't lose. Where the fuck is it? Okay. I wouldn't really try and identify them. I would just ask, okay, so Little Miss Moros. Okay. This is 100%. If I was like starting over right now, this is what I would do. I would, if I started to like sense a presence around me or near me in my space, and I think that it's probably a demon or ancient god, which is what demons are before they were demonized by Christianity. They were daemons, which are guides. They are spiritual guides, not spirit guides, but they're like the ancient gods, right? There was no like good or evil, like the ones that had to do with death and destruction were just as venerated and honored as the ones that had to do with light and rebirth. So yeah. But anyways, if you think it's a demon, if you think that a demon is like coming and trying to make itself known to you, just ask that they bestow their attributes onto you, okay? So maybe you would do also a session to where like you're in meditation. Maybe if you can astral project, that would be great. But if you're only good at meditation, you can ask them to take you on a journey, right? So like I talked about earlier, is like holding the intention in your heart. Forget kind of like what your body wants to do. Like let your body do what it wants to do. If it wants to bring up fear, let it. But in your heart space, really focus your attention here in your heart space into light, like light in your heart. I use the black flame now, but whenever I first started, I used light a lot. So I would visualize a ball of light in my chest, radiating out and consuming my entire space, which is also, by the way, a really great banishing technique. If you don't know anything else, let your heart light up and basically consume everything in your space. But um, hold the intention of developing the attributes that this demon or ancient god or whatever other deity or angel you think might be presenting itself to you, and ask it to take you on a journey in your meditation, or if you can astral travel, that you will, pop out and have your astral experience with them. What do they want you to see? Take me on a journey, reveal yourself to me. It's about asking the right question. So if you don't ask a question, you're not going to get an answer. And so what I like to help people to do is to experience empowerment, self-empowerment, where you are getting your own answers, to where you're able to tune in and like tap in to your own divinity, your own infinite nature, the part of you that knows all, that sees all, that is all. And when you develop a practice, a strong enough self discipline, then you will start to be able to connect with these different masks or layers of your own divinity, right? And so just remembering that like the only separation that we're really experiencing is the illusion of it. And so you're tapping into infinite layers and versions of self essentially, and you're just asking it to take you on that journey to reveal what needs to be revealed. And as you start to learn more and more and more on this subject, then you'll just know, like it'll just stand out to you, just like it would if any other type of deity that you might consider working with. And yeah, it's totally possible to be a light worker or shadow worker or both. There's like a middle path that you could be on. I've never met anybody on a middle path. Spiritually speaking, I'm definitely a middle path type person. But like Luciferian chaos mage over here. So, um, I feel like in my lifetime, I'm supposed to know the rightest right hand path and the leftist left hand path. And through the experience of both, I'm kind of like being able to find the perfect balance in my life. So, whew, thank you. You should see it on YouTube. It doesn't look that great. What's up? Hi. Good night, you guys. I'm getting off of here. Hopefully we'll do this again soon. If you're on YouTube and you haven't thumbs up this video, give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you guys here on TikTok are wanting to see what the rest of this live stream was, I was smart enough to make sure to go live on YouTube where it would be saved at the same time. So you can go check it out over there on YouTube if you can't find my YouTube. Oh my God. If you can't find my YouTube, there is a little icon in my bio area on TikTok, and you just click over here and subscribe there, turn on your notifications and all of that good stuff. I thought that I like blocked this person, but they're just showing up again. Oh my God, you literally telling people to sell their souls. Do you have any idea of the consequences? Oh, you are something else, mama. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm gonna block you too. Because I don't need you on my page unless you're trying to empower yourself. I haven't blocked you yet. So is there any last words that you would like to have, Amethyst Valley? I literally did not say those words at all on this stream. And if I wanted to, that would be fine. Because you can't fucking sell your soul, by the way. That would be silly. That's like total Christian thinking. Okay, maybe she doesn't know much about it. Low-key scared too, but I want to learn. Yeah, totally. That's totally fine. Like 100%. But you don't just take words from somebody and then twist them into like whatever you want it to mean. That goes back to the conversation we were having a little bit earlier about being in the same room with like me, your mom, and your partner, us looking at the same thing and all perceiving it differently, right? It's because we have our own programming. Like, we have our own, and this is a theory I have, is that our eyes are not just seeing the world. We're not just taking it in. Our eyes are not, it's not just coming into our eyeballs, but that our eyeballs are a projector for the reality that we are programmed to see. So whatever our program is up here and in our body, in our subconscious, that's what's coming out of our projectors. So that's kind of weird, I'm sure, but it's what I believe. And that was one of those like downloads that just kind of like hit me one day. I was like, our eyes are fucking projecting this whole thing right now. That's interesting. But yeah, if you're scared but interested, like it doesn't mean you have to jump in and start practicing anything having to do with like demons or anything like that. It doesn't mean that. Like you can be curious. You could be curious about anything you want to be and learn as much as you want to learn about it. And it's most likely going to take you on to the next level or of the evolution of your soul or of your being. So yeah, it's okay to be afraid of it. Like it's totally afraid. I mean, totally afraid. I'm like trying to read and talk at the same time. We need to stop. I've been talking too long. Law of attraction. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Go and subscribe on YouTube because we can have more conversations here. Thank you guys for being on with me here on YouTube too. Corjay, you've been here since the beginning. Like, I'm so happy that I followed you today. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk more about like that shroom stuff too, because I deleted my comment because I don't want anything held against me. Okay. All right, y'all. Good night. Thanks for joining. Have an awesome sleep, dream, awesomeness stuff too. Okay, bye.